quickly go across and we'll just try and figure out certain things that's happening across. Again, please note, I'm not talking politics or religion, simple economic analysis. So if it offends anybody, I'm very sorry. But the idea is to present numbers and then figure out what could be done. So let's start straight off. Okay, I'll take 5 minutes, right, with the disclaimer clause. Today's session needs a disclaimer clause, right? Definitely it needs the disclaimer clause because we are going to talk a bit on politics, right? And we'll try and figure out what's really happening here. We've taken some inputs from my wife here on this topic, right? Because she teaches economics. I'm an engineer, so I understand finance through logic. So I was just discussing with my better half, and seriously better half, what is really going wrong in the economy. And we had some very good interactions. So first thing first, yeah, India works very well when we are under crisis. So I'm sure Anil sir has seen that. So we had a time where, even a Bajaj scooter, there was a waiting period of 6 months. Telephone was a luxury. So everything changed after 1991. I'm not saying that is the only thing good that happened to the country, but LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization. So much so that we only had forex reserves up to 2 weeks worth of imports, 2 weeks worth of imports. That's it, finished. And we all know that capital becomes scarce when we need it the most. Money becomes scarce when we need it the most. So everybody really, right, took up their hands, including NRIs. NRIs also said, no investing in India, right? Obviously, they are hard-earned money. Why would they invest, right? And then IMF came into the picture, gave India a loan, and then pushed India to liberalize, privatize, globalize. So today, the benefits of that you could see. I'm not saying it is the only. It is very, very good because due to LPG, the Gini coefficient or Gini coefficient in our country has gone up significantly. Gini coefficient is a measure of inequality. So I'll just put it in the chat. I've not prepared a slide on that. Gini coefficient. Gani would like to note this. It measures the level of inequality. So yes, there is a bad side to this liberalization. The bad side to this is the level of inequality has gone up. So it varies from 0 to 1. 0 is perfect equality. 1 is perfect inequality. 1 is perfect inequality. India is moving towards 1 after liberalization. The best countries to study in terms of equality is not United States, is Scandinavian economies. So very good side thoughts here is Scandinavian economy. So if you ever want to see, right, which countries have done well in terms of inequality, it's Scandinavian economies. So Norway, right, Sweden, etc. They may not be the richest countries in the world, but definitely in terms of inequality, it's supposed to be good, right? That means people are more or less equal, unlike India, where right opposite a superstructure known as Antilla, you go some kilometers away, you have Asia's largest slum. So that itself explains our inequality. Having said that, the reason I'm pointing this out repeatedly is things are bad, but I'm again and again saying myself, I'm telling myself things will improve, the government liberalization. So yes, we are in a bad spot. I'm deliberately starting like this so that you all get a feel that yes, we are in a bad spot, but things can improve. The government gets it right. So here we go. Very quickly, right? We were discussing this at home. And my wife said that is where possibly things can get better if the government gets it right. Yes, it's all for Hunger Collective, right? Rashri Sai and Ashlesha ma'am, thank you very much. Thank you each one of you all. This is all our sponsors, right? I would not like to keep going through them, right? Thank you very much, the Bansals from Mathura and Surat. Thank you very much. And I also said, kids like Abhishek Bayani have contributed, but they have silently just kept quiet, which is absolutely wrong. I'm going to pull them up and put them as sponsor. Yeah, so this was Hunger Collective. And now let us understand one thing, dear colleagues. First, let's get this right. India was always slowing down. So please look at these two graphs, okay? And then we start discussing. Please come on to chat, keep chatting up. That's where we will go. So what I've done is I've picked up this entire chart post-liberalization. This is again publicly available data, McKinsey and Express Research Group. So I picked it up from Indian Express or Financial Express, the Express Service Group. So if you look what has happened here, look at the graph very carefully. So is this a crisis? Yes. Did it develop suddenly? No. So I remember one of my professors and a lot of esteemed colleagues who came on this particular venture to support Hunger Collective. One of them mentioned about the boiling frog. I don't know who it was, but I presume it would be Parimal Merchant sir. He said that you take a frog and put it in boiling water, suddenly the frog will jump out. But if you put the frog in water and keep slowly heating it, it will never realize the change till it gets boiled. Okay. So I don't know if there's an actual story like that. No way. But then it shows that when there is slow action, we don't realize it. Now look at this, please. Look at this very interesting graph. So we're looking at post-liberalization. So here we had a very minimal growth known as 1.1%. So here we had very serious problems where it really fell to 1.1%. Then slowly the economic liberalization measures kicked in. Very good, 7.6% was very good. Now please understand these numbers can be manipulated, but I presume that we'll go with the same base. Then there was a drop of 4% and then again an increase to 8.8%, slow and slow, slow and slow, slow and slow. But before I continue, let me come on to the chat. My question to all of you all, Abhishek, Gani, is that why is GDP growth rate so important? Why are we really looking at GDP growth rate? So why this entire discussion about GDP growth rate? Even before we start saying minus 23% and things like that. It's a benchmark for any measure. Okay. Okay, good. So what is GDP? First of all, let's get this right. GDP is the size of the economy. That's straight. That's finished. Absolutely. Okay. So GDP also shows production. Thank you very much. So GDP is the value of goods and services produced by a particular economy. So let's understand what is GDP first, and then we'll go to GDP growth and recession and slowdown. So GDP is nothing but the value of goods and services produced by a particular economy. So when we say India should be a 5 trillion economy, I'm not actually kidding, but there was a statement once upon a time that India could be a 5 trillion economy. Now there are various ways of measuring GDP. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. One of the ways, Karamveer, that's brilliant, is PPP, purchasing power parity. What is purchasing power parity? If one burger costs 75 rupees in India, and in US it costs $1. $1 is 75 rupees. So, right, absolutely. So we said that, right? Now, thanks Abhishek for remembering this. So GDP growth rate is the rate at which the GDP is increasing. Now, why 5% is important? Why 8% is important? Shreya's brilliant line explains the dependency of a country absolutely on self. Absolutely right. Now, please understand, when you start pushing this entire GDP concept, India should grow at around 8% is what is a statistical study by Reserve Bank of India, because that is the time you can give employment to youngsters coming in. So please understand. Now let's get this right. So GDP defined, and I'm so happy you all remember it. GDP growth rate, why is it important? Why should India grow at 7%, 8%? So if you go to RBI's website, they put a paper saying 7 to 8% is a good growth rate to go with. Why 7? Why 8? What is that sacrosanct number? India is a very young country. All of you are young. So they put an entire cap and say, in case we want to provide full employment to these guys, these youngsters, right, to reap the demographic dividend, India should grow at 8%. Okay, year on year, CAGR, compounded annual growth rate, compounded annual growth rate. Now, if you get this right, we should grow at 8%, but we are minus 23%. So first alarm will come in, my God, now I realize there's a problem. Okay, so first, please understand, I'm now going back to the boiling frog example. Why India should grow at 8% is very clear. Otherwise, the demographic dividend will be a demographic curse. These guys will come on the road, and anyway, social inequality has increased in India. Please understand, if we do not grow at a pace to give full employment, the demographic dividend can immediately become a demographic curse. Okay, that's one. Number two, I'll come back again and repeat this. So is this a man-made crisis? I think yes. Was it happening for a long time? Obviously, yes, but we were oblivious. Even today, if you look at the entire media hullabaloo today, which is right also, nothing wrong. We are talking about if can a lady be arrested? Where is she? With jail? What is happening? Without realizing that, there was something in the economy which was actually in a bad shape. Look at these numbers here now. Excuse me. So this is not a precipitous fall right here. The trend was always negative. Now, if you look at this 8.8, then down, it went to 9.8. 3.9. I'm very interesting to find 10.3 happened during what era? It was around 2011. So you know which government was in power, what happened. See, there is also a global effect. There is a global effect. Please understand, 2008, we went down like this because there was a US subprime crisis. So India, once it is globalized, anything happens. If US catches a cold, India is going to sneeze. That's seen here. And then the recovery started. Then again, we came down. Then again, we came here. What's happening here? What's happening here? It was always negative. So India was slowing down. What is slow down? Slow, with these numbers I'm saying this, slowdown is the rate of growth is decreasing. But it was not negative. So we were growing at 8.3%. Then slowly it came to 7. Then it came to 6. I'll say, what's the difference between 8 and 6? Huge difference, because GDP growth rate is measured on GDP. So even a 1% difference can cause major chaos. Now, please understand why this less tax collection is reflected in the GST administration, demonetization, and suddenly here the slip happened. India on an average was 6.8% plus. Now our average is minus 7%. So from a plus 7, we moved to minus 7, average. And I'm not even talking about that minus 23% drop last quarter. Now, one more argument that is placed upon us is, and I want you all to chat, okay? You have to tell me if I'm wrong, you have to chat, okay? And tell me, no, 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 this is the way you look at it. One argument that has been given is, this is wrong comparison. How can you compare 2021 first quarter against 2019-20, 19-20? But that's the way it is always done. Quarter and quarter always is like that. When I was a student of statistics also, I was taught this. Quarter and quarter is always compared, because what applies in one quarter will apply in that quarter next year. So now I will compare. Now can somebody tell me, now I'll stop share, okay? And I'll come back to a chat, okay? Can somebody tell me what will happen, right? Next Q1, 21-22, bumper growth, absolutely right. This effect is called, thanks Abhishek. No, Shreyans, one sec, big increase, thank you very much. Exponential rise, this is called as base effect. Now what caused this 23% drop? So this is absolutely right. Shreyans, this has got nothing to do with might increase due to ease of liquidity. I do not know. I am only saying this is called as base effect. I was trying to clear a concept, bache, and that's why Abhishek responded quickly on this. And of course, Dr. Vinod Nair, perfect answer, right? I was only trying to explain to you what is called as base effect. So obviously now with this base, quarter 1 of 21-22 will be brilliant unless there is a major screw up, okay? Now, first thing first, all of you all, India has slipped into recession. Let's get this right. India is slipping into recession, okay? We don't need any big economist to tell you this. What is recession? Negative growth for 2 quarters. Negative growth for 2 quarters. Next quarter also is going to be negative. You can blame April, May, June to lockdown. July, August, September, you can possibly come back. July, August, September, you can say that it is a hangover effect, but definitely it's going to be a negative growth. It's going to be a negative growth. That means India has slipped into recession, okay? Minus 23% is the biggest slip post-independence. Minus 23% is the biggest slip post-independence. Can we blame it on the pandemic? Partly yes, partly no. Other countries also have faced this pandemic, but they have not dropped so much. Now, what caused this minus 23% drop? Now, what has happened here? 2021, okay? Production of coal minus, so we have slipped there. Production of cement minus 38. Look at the numbers that has come in. Do you see any positive here in 2021 first quarter? No. So, let's say lockdown effect. Oh yeah, I agree. Of course, it is lockdown effect. No, if railways is closed down, If airports are closed down, minus 94 is obvious. Then how do you explain this negative numbers here? Commercial vehicle sales. You can attribute it to changing lifestyle. You can attribute it to Uber and Ola, perfectly fine. But has it got something to do with less increase in salaries of people, non-availability of jobs? Why is it that auto sales have gone down significantly? And that is not something which has happened this quarter. This happened here also. Take it backward and you'll see something wrong has happened there also. Excuse me. If you look at the numbers which are positive also, first quarter of 1920, it was consumption of steel, which was showing an increase of 5%. That means, dear colleagues, this slip which has happened, I now conclude this discussion. I'm open to your arguments also, is an increase in the negative trend that was happening in the economy. So our economy was going through a slowdown, which got accentuated by the pandemic. Now, the bigger question that you could ask is, which I am not going to answer, I don't know also, did the lockdown solve anything? That I leave it to Dr. Vinod Nair to answer. I do not know the answer. Did we put up a better health structure to deal with the pandemic? I do not know. Definitely now, it is a question. Now, what has happened now is after the lockdown, it has become a question of livelihood versus life. And people are willing to risk their life because they know that if they don't do that, their livelihood is at stake. Having said this, what do you think is the drivers for any economy, right? Share market is not going in the opposite direction. Share market is driven by, that is where possible that Jio came in. Share market is driven by liquidity. Share market is driven by 10, 15 stocks. So when you say share market, I have explained this and I'll just spend 3 minutes on this. It's Sensex. But if you look at the mid cap stocks and if you look at the small cap stocks, the smaller companies, they're bleeding. Now, where is this money coming from? It is coming from, so whichever companies this money is coming from, it is whichever companies is getting this money, where is this money coming from? It's coming from United States, where they have come out with a absolutely very big stimulus package. Money is available dirt cheap. One way is this money has come in, one, because of low liquidity, right? We call it carry trade. So wherever there is low interest rate, money comes from that to this. But earlier it is to come as stock market investments. This time it has gone as private placement. It has gone as private placement. So there is enhanced liquidity in the market. I give full credit to Reliance for executing it. I'm very proud of Reliance that they have got the money. Now, if you look at share market, one last comment here, but please look at smaller companies and mid cap and small cap stocks. Many of them are bleeding. Many of them are simply bleeding. Some of them are doing well, except right, who are the ones who are doing well, who have got their business model right, okay, who has got a business model right. Now I pull back from this discussion. I want to get back to our analysis, okay. Now, when you start talking about GDP growth rate, now pay attention to this, wonderful, and I see one more chat coming up, but I'll just hold on now. When you say GDP growth comes from where, okay? GDP growth comes from these components, okay? GDP growth rate comes from which components? One, it comes from private consumption. It comes from investment. It comes from a government consumption. It comes from net exports. So remember 4 things now. GDP is going to be affected by what? GDP is going to be affected by 4 factors. 1, private consumption. 2nd, investment. 3rd, government consumption. 4th, net exports. Net exports is exports minus imports, which is always negative in India because imports are more than exports. So net exports have never pushed India's GDP. India imports more than exports, but we should please note that for the first time ever, our imports fell substantially, so much so that our exports are greater than imports. So first time in at least my reading history, net exports have become positive. Our exports are more than imports. One sec. It doesn't mean that our exports have increased tremendously. It means that our imports have fallen significantly. Which are the imports which have fallen? One is oil, which shows that the consumption of oil is not happening in the economy. 2nd, gold, and gold, I'm happy it fell also. Third is electronics. So maybe the Make in India is working now, but definitely the oil import falling is not good for the country, because it shows that, you know, the economy is not consuming oil, means economy is not going into a right fast movement. Okay, let's look at the other numbers and let's see what is really happening here. So we had these numbers here, and please note, always this is negative. Net exports is always negative. Net exports, here it has become positive, positive, right? Positive, positive, and suddenly here it becomes a major positive. Okay, so if you look at this net exports, it has become positive. Is it good or bad? I reserve my comments. I personally think it is bad, because our imports have fallen so much substantially that, you know, our exports have not grown. If our exports would have grown, I would have said very good. Our imports have fallen. Okay, so that is why my worry is. Okay, and we have still not substituted oil. Okay, now look at the other numbers. Let's take one by one. Let's look at private consumption. Private consumption was positive, 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 positive. Hello, it became less positive. Positive, I'm not even, this was very good. Smaller, smaller, increase, smaller, increase, smaller, 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 smaller. Suddenly it has shrunk. Okay. And I'm talking of private consumption. And here it becomes negative. That means you and I have contributed to this fallen GDP, because we have stopped consuming. Why have we stopped consuming? Is there any fear factor? But please understand that private consumption falling is really bad for the economy, because they are one of the biggest growth drivers of the economy. They're biggest growth drivers of the economy. Okay. Now what else has happened? Investment. Let's look at investment. Okay. Excuse me, nothing I'm talking. I'm only stating with numbers. Okay. Now you draw your own conclusion. You may, some of you will be so paranoid that I'm criticizing that you will say, let us reverse that graph and look it from top bottom. Up karo. मैं आपको graph दे रहा हूँ the way it is. If you like India and you are a real thing, you उसको उल्टा करके पढ़ो और खुशी है कि घर पे आके सो जाओ. Okay. So now investment. Small, big, small, big, small, 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 shrunk, shrunk, negative. Negative. Hello, we are not even reached anywhere near the pandemic. Negative. Negative. Steep fall. Has something gone wrong with the animal spirits of Indian industrialists? We were talking about ease of doing business. Latest results of ease of doing business shows UP as number 2. Number 1 is Andhra Pradesh. Kerala is way down the list. Kerala's literacy rate is the highest. I'll show you the two contrasting graphs next time. Does it show that, you know, animal spirits are less when literacy goes up? I don't know. I'm asking you. Is government policy not conducive for investment? I do not know. I leave it to you. So 2 negatives. Now what has become positive is very interesting. What has become positive, and I hope you're getting this number sense here, is this government consumption. Let's look at one last thing, okay? And then I'll take your questions. Government consumption was positive. It became smaller. Government consumption is bad. The government consumes more and more. We should ask a question. What is it for? Is it for capex? Then very good. Is it for operating expenses? And I leave it to you. Is it for payment? Government consumption is for payment of salaries? Is for interest payments? I do not know. So here it is. Let's look at these numbers. Small, smaller, smaller, smaller. Government is trying to reduce its role. Smaller, 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 smaller. Always positive though. Smaller, smaller. Oh yeah, here also it is positive. That means only government consumption has become positive. But that cannot compensate for a big drop in investment and private consumption. Individual consumers expenditure down minus 27%. Investment by private business down 47%. Expenditure by government up 16%. Net demand from exports minus import up 165%, which again, according to me, is not good. Total down minus 23%. Why? Biggest growth engines are here. In the growth engines, we stalled. Now it's obvious that we will stall, no? During lockdown period, we'll stall. Now the interesting fact is, and maybe Abhishek is right, maybe after lockdown, if these two shoot up, I think expenditure by individual consumers can shoot up. Investment will not shoot up. I don't think it will happen. So my hunch is, maybe we'll end up with a small positive. But why I'm so dead sure that you will have a negative is, I don't see this going up significantly. Definitely private business investment will not go up, barring some 5-6 companies, which anyway is delivering themselves. By the way, please understand, Jio has used that money to deliver itself, not to grow. It is not growth capital. So somebody wrote Jio, Abhishek wrote Jio. Jio has used the money to retire debt, not to again set up a big project. That is gone. They're saying, oh, loan jo hai, I don't want to be an Anil Ambani, so I want to retire that debt. Expenditure by government has gone up by 16%. But what was that numbers anyway? That numbers were small. So if you look at these two numbers, this was around 20, that's become 14. That was the main driver. 11 have become 6. 4 has gone up to 4.1, has become 4.8. Simple. And that's the real story. People are focusing on increasing disposable income. Point taken, right? I think, no. Here I've got a small, very important point to add. People are not even saving much. Consumption chod, people are not even saving, but that means they are earning less. Let me prove it to you all. So maybe वो hypothesis पे गया. Maybe our consumption has dropped because people are saving much. Let's look at those numbers also. Okay. Private consumption, the biggest. I'm just verbatim picking it up. Please understand, the verbatim pick it up. So I'm deliberately telling you my source also. The source is right here. Express Research Group. I loved this article. Out of the ones I read, I like this the most. Okay. Private consumption fallen by 27%. Investments by business fallen by even harder. Total biggest engines accounted for 88% of contraction. Okay. It is wrong to say it is because of lockdown. There was a negative trend right from the beginning. I'm again and again telling you all that. Okay. Now you'll say, sir, can you give us some proof? Here it is. Private consumption expenditure. Here is one more thing. पूछना चाहिए. I know some of you will say, ऐसा कैसा? देख लो ना. So this is private consumption expenditure. It was always going up and down. So here it shot up significantly. Excuse me, don't get too excited. We're looking at numbers here. Okay, 1998 ka numbers hai. So this is a long drawn chart. Right, so it's been there. Somewhere here, you can see the graph. It's again started to dip. It was showing a negative dip. So somewhere here itself, private consumption has started dropping. So there was a drop here. There was an increase. There's a drop here, and then tap, it just fell. So the highest private consumption was somewhere here. What is this? Is it because of COVID? Or is it because people were fearing the worst? I don't know. Let's look at the next one. Net exports, right? Positive, and I quote, it shows an economy where economy has plummeted. Imports going down is not good unless you talk about import substitution. Finally, government has to come in, and government went up by 16%. Government cannot do much because tax collection is not there. Even if the government wants to do, they can't give you a cash stimulus. No way. So there was a classic line from our economic advisor, great guy, absolutely great guy. Again, a management guru, ISB professor. He says that, we still have money, but we will unleash it once the vaccine is released. Because now, even if we give that stimulus, nobody is going to use it. So we will wait for the vaccine, then confidence will come back, then we will unleash the stimulus because the government has limited gunpowder. Okay. One argument is that. The counter argument to that is Mr. Venu of, right, who mentioned that, Mr. Venu said, the patient is already in an ICU. If you don't give the steroid now, when? After the patient is dead, when will you do it? So there are two counter arguments. Without getting into who is right, both of them saying only one thing: the government has limited gunpowder, okay, to tackle this. One, because the economy was anyway weak during those times. Now I'll give you some more indicators. So till now what we have done, let's quickly wrap this up. We said India was always slowing. We said that was the weakness was there in the first quarter itself, 1920, and I kept saying the same argument there. It is not a steep fall that has happened. See, at least with President Trump, whatever you say, he could pump prime that economy. We may not like him. I don't like him at all. Okay. But then yes, he could pump prime the economy. In our case, our attention has been so diverted that we didn't see this coming. Right? We didn't see this coming. All that this COVID has done is it has accelerated the descent. Okay. Why? I've explained that. So total GDP loss is around down 23%. Government has taken the brunt of this. The government has government did not have a choice anyway. Higher debt to GDP ratio. Wage earners have lost. They had to go. I don't know why it is major migrant problem, right? At least none of my students had to face majority, especially the ones who are taking care of people. But then, of course, people who let the migrants go and fend on their own, they had to have problems. And right, of course, in many cases it was rumor mongering, right? And I'm sure this labor will come back to people who have been taking care of them. That's what limited clients that I go and meet. I would not say clients, my students I go and meet, labor is coming back. By the way, we are not even talking about informal sector, right? Today's class. Moment we start talking about informal sector, the situation becomes even more dramatic. Okay. We are only talking of numbers which is available in the public domain. And finally, corporates. Corporates have decided that we will lower the capex, we will deliver, even if we get money. And the ones which are not getting money are taken more debt to a COVID loan and others, and now waiting to see whether demand will revive. Any questions at this stage? Okay. So I'll tell you a couple of things that I want to tell you. So this is not going to be a solution like 3-minute logistics ठीक करो, labor को लेके आओ, नहीं होता ऐसा बेटे. पर तो समझो कि ये structural problem था. And you kids never realized it क्योंकि आप लोग सब अच्छे कर रहे थे. तो आप लोग तो निकल जाओगे. But India के लिए solution क्या है? अच्छा, before that, let's take a worst case scenario. If things continue, what do you think is the worst thing that can happen? चलो थोड़ा discuss करते हैं. Then the solution to this problem will become more exciting. People protest on the streets. Absolutely. Government defaults. That's the worst thing that can happen. India will be junk status. We are one grade away. It's a catch-22 situation. Yes, Sandeep ji, absolutely right. Business is going bust. Absolutely right. India can be junk status. You know what is junk status? The India story is over. Our yields will go up. Today, when you take a foreign currency loan, India, at least you will get some money, at low interest rates because we are investment grade, just about investment grade. We are tethering there. Now, abhi aap log aur cross argument kar sakte hain. Japan has higher debt than India. How can Japan be 2 grades above us? I don't have time for all that. मैं खाली आपको समझा रहा हूँ. We are just about investment grade. One slip down, it is junk status. Yields will shoot up like anything. And the government is mindful of that. So now the government will have to act. If such a scenario is expected, why this foreign inflow? Very good question, Vinod sir. Such a scenario is not expected, sir. That is why foreign inflow. So people are betting that now, very good question. People are betting that the government will act now because the government will have to avoid the junk status. So remember my first statement, 1991, we acted when we were pushed against a wall. Similarly now, next class we will discuss that. What all can be done to get this? So this is a problem, but it's not an impossible problem. That it's gone, dusted. It is something which is going, now the real fun will start. So I want to tell you that if you all are prepared for the next upswing, this is the time to be. Because I am very clear. Businesses never die. And this is what my gurus have taught me. Businesses never die. Business models keep changing. Business model dies. But are you ready for the next upswing? And it's nothing very, there's no rocket science in anything that we spoke today. It's just looking at numbers, saying, understanding what it is. And when you start digging it, right, by the believe me, this is all publicly available sources. Usme thoda understanding karna padega. You have to understand, reflect on those numbers. That's all I've done today. I want to go back and show that, what should recover in India is very clear. These two. And for that, first thing that the government will have to do, I now submit my case to you all. The government will have to encourage investment by private businesses. Private businesses, somebody said, now what Shreyans asked, what can government do? Government will have to open up more for private businesses. Private businesses will generate jobs. MSME sector, the hot favorite who can generate jobs. And then that will push, then the virtuous cycle will start. Then people will get jobs. Individual consumers will start consuming. And then the circle now, which is vicious, because if these two are down, only this is positive, will become virtuous. But this is the key point what the government needs to do. And I expect the reforms to come one by one. If the government can push and encourage business people, and I expect a lot of subsidies to come in, a more opening up of, so be prepared, yeah. You may get somebody to come and have a joint venture with you all. Why not? Maybe the bankruptcy code is going to be revived better. There's no wrong here. We can also fail in business. US president himself has said, I've failed so many times. So we may open up. The laws may get more stringent for willful defaulters, but genuine businessmen, I think the bankers themselves have realized that, you could have a failure in life. Winding up can become easier. And by the way, please, the government is not doing this for you. The government is doing it so that we are getting the benefit of it. Why? Because government is pushed into a corner. Having said this, let me take one final thing at this stage, and then I'll summarize today's class. Point is, we have to live with COVID, but the fact is, this is also a time where government can act now. I believe if the government gets the act right, which the government will do, nobody can let the country down. Are we ready for the next boom? Is a question I leave you with. Are you ready with the next boom? Right? I'm a product of 1991 liberalization. Maybe I was your age, or maybe younger to you all also. And we have seen that. We Indians act when we are pushed against the wall. I will end with this line, that history has shown us this, right? And this is one of the worst recession that we are seeing post-independence. So this can't get more worse than this. Thanks, dear colleagues. Thank you very, very much. God bless.